Good morning, Bande Matram. Welcome all of you. We are going to have a brief discussion on breaking discipline is disobedience to the divine. Breaking discipline is the disobedience to the divine. That is the topic of discussion. Some disciplines are there in the ashram. It has been told almost in the about the ashram, about the sadhana life. But in traditional life, staying outside the ashram life, not pursuing this integral yoga, you have got your rules and regulations, you have got your discipline. Even in your day-to-day life, there is some sort of discipline in your life that you have seen, you obey, you accept. Sometimes also you disobey. Disciplines are there, you make the rules and you break. Discipline you create and you deviate. That is what already we have seen. In many occasions we have seen. Even sometimes you can find we have made some discipline. We have to stick it, but in many ways we try to deviate in the side door entry. So these are the very inevitable things in a day-to-day regular life we see. But so far this in yogic methods are concerned, yogic life is concerned, some sort of discipline you must obey in your yogic life. It is inevitable, that is necessary. But thing is that sometimes we deviate. Because why then? There is a possibility of when we ought to obey. There is also a chance the simultaneously or the side to disobey also. Thing is that obeying, that is fine quality, you have to obey, there is no other go. But simultaneously when you deviate and you disobey, that creates the problem for you. Then what is there? The discipline has been laid down in the ashram, specially it has been told. Discipline has been laid down in the ashram by the mothers during the court. Some discipline. Initially, there was some strict disciplines and there very freedom was there, but anyhow it was some to some extent there was some reins on this freedom. But in the latter stage of life, it was found that freedom is absolutely necessary under discipline, rule and regulation. Some deviation is being found. So these ashramites were allowed to complete freedom. Till then, some discipline is there. You have to obey in ashram life. So still in the course, some discipline have been laid down by the mother in the ashram. You have to obey. It is your moral obligation. It is necessity. You have to obey. And simultaneously when obey, there is also simultaneously the contrary thing, the contrary opposite, that is to disobey. To break it, to disobey it, to break this discipline, not obeying, this disobedience to the divine. That is what Sri Aurobindo has categorically analyzed, discussed, and indicated. So you have to, in so far this ashram life is concerned, so far this ashramites are concerned, it is a most necessary thing for them. Discipline has been laid down in the ashram by the mother. To break it is disobedience to the divine. Then next phase, Sri Aurobindo goes a little bit forward and analyzes very clearly another message, that divine message you can see from Sri Aurobindo. It is when you are free from the lower nature. It is only when that you are free from the lower nature. Very difficult. We don't know, we have not analyzed. This idea is not even in our mind. It is when we are free from the lower nature that mother's will is the law. Mother's will is the law. No, nothing can be, no formal rules and regulation. Nothing will be fixed upon you. If you are freed from this lower nature, one thing you will be taken for surety, granted. Mother's will is the law. When subject to lower nature, when the two conditions are there, within the lower nature, free from, and the second, above the lower nature. So first one, if you are free from the lower nature, then mother's will is the law. Mother's will is the law. And on the contrary, when subject to the lower nature, bound, confined to the lower nature. The lower nature is constantly disobeying the divine will. That is the problem you have to see. When you find something, then why here also you can take the conclusion. How can we be able to know that we are in lower nature or something? Or above, we freed from the lower nature. That can be experienced and felt through this example. Means disobeying the divine will. When you are disobeying the divine will, it is sure that you are in the lower nature. Means, and another way, if we are in the lower nature, naturally we are disobeying the divine will. And when we are free from the lower nature, mother's will is the law. And on contrary, same thing can be taken from right to left. When mother's will is the law, you feel, you take, and you practice in your life. It indicates that you are freed from the lower nature. That is a great thing. Great thing what the Master Aurobindo has told us to, and it is reflected in our life. You can judge yourself that whether I am confined to lower nature or I have gone above, I am freed. That is what the requirement to know. Again, Sri Aurobindo goes forward a little bit. The constant disobedience and indiscipline. Sometimes it happens. एक बार का अगर कुछ हो जाता है तो यू आर एक्सक्यूज्ड. समथिंग इफ यू आर कमेंटिंग फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम, then you are excused, no problem. This constant disobedience and indiscipline, constantly, again and again, repeatedly, consistently, constantly you are doing what? Disobedience and discipline is a radical obstacle to the sadhana. Sometimes it happens, you don't know something will be happening, and it is beyond your knowledge, beyond your capacity. Something is happening. It happens when somebody starts walking, that kid, many times he falls on the ground. Many times, not once or twice, many times. Now itself you are people sitting before sitting before me, you don't have anything to cry. Tears are not rolling down from your eyes over your cheeks. Because to some extent you are conscious, tears are emotional things, vital things. It must not come and halt our progress, seize our progress. That's what you have known. But initially, many times on many occasions, you have tried to cry. Tears will be rolling down. That is what. So one time, in one instant, it is very difficult to see that things are very clear. It is not that perfection is not one day process. It is a progressive. Surrender is progressive. Yoga is progressive. Progressive. You have to continue on and on and on. So that you will get some results. That is fine. This constant discipline, but here also. Disobedience and indiscipline, it is also found in the normal way of life. It is being committed. Even I have seen some people following the mother, and again they are doing the same thing. Finally, when they will even though they realize they commit the same thing, this constant disobedience and indiscipline is a radical obstacle to the sadhana. Radical obstacle, hurdle should be there. You can cross it. But once this hurdle turns, this obstacle ceased, progress is stopped. The constant disobedience and indiscipline is a radical obstacle in sadhana, and the worst possible example to others. Worst possible example to the others, because you need to be example and a burning example before others. But in what example you are going to become? That positive side or this negative side? Indiscipline and disobedience, they are the negative side. If you want to be an example, you will be an example. Normally you are an example, but in a negative sense. So if and this will be in other way constant obstacle, radical obstacle to the sadhana, and worst possible example to others. That you must take care. That is, it is inevitable, very difficult and very dangerous idea also. Again, we are going little bit forward. It is a deficiency of psychic perception and spiritual discrimination that make people ignore in the importance of the obedience. I think it is a great logic and great criticism to our disobedience and indiscipline. Sri Aurobindo quotes again, it is the deficiency of physical psychic perception deficiency of psychic perfection, and simultaneously spiritual discrimination that make possible to people to ignore the importance of obedience. For these two reasons, deficiency of the psychic perception and deficiency of the spiritual discrimination, deficiency of psychic perception, simultaneously spiritual discrimination. With these two, people normally ignore the importance of obedience. They don't think that I have to obey. Obedience is a rule. I have to obey. They don't feel take that way. It is the mind during the course wanting to follow its own way of thinking. That is the problem with mind. Mind will decide and it will take that I will think in my own way of thinking. Second, it is for the vital seeking a freedom for desires. Freedom for desires, that's what. And the body, normally laziness and inertia, tamas is there. So it is the mind without wanting to follow its own way of thinking. Second, for the vital, it is seeking freedom for its desires. The obedience is necessary so as to get away from one's own mind and vital and learn to follow the truth. With the confines of these peripheries of mind and vital, very difficult to progress. So you must know, you must learn how to get rid of these confines, these limitations. Very interesting message, really interesting message. I will try to quote it again. I think it will be very valuable in your life, not only in your life. People who are actually wanting, who need to obey this discipline. So it is a very big thing for them. It is the deficiency of psychic perception and spiritual discrimination. Psychic perception and spiritual discrimination that make people ignore the importance of obedience. So they forget due to this lacuna, deficiency of psychic perception and spiritual discrimination. So they ignore the importance of obedience. So with that, if they disobey, the reason is what? Reason lies in the mind and vital. Mind, what it does, wanting to follow its own way of thinking. What I want to think, that is in my way, and it is right for the mind. And vital, what happens? Seeking freedom from desires, for its desires. So vital has its desires, and it feels, it needs, it has it has the need of freedom for its desires. So, on concludingly, if they are there, the obedience is necessary to get away from its own mind and vital. Suppose you are in the track of sadhana. This is the one thing, the great thing what you have to do. You must get away from your mind and vital. If you are running away from your mind and vital, then what is happening? Learn to follow the truth. With the mind and vital, with its own confines and old adamantine, you can't progress. For that, actually, you have to convert to the truth. That is what the requirement. Again, two beautiful messages are there. Sri Aurobindo quotes very beautifully. Nice remarks from Sri Aurobindo we have seen. So some people are there, they are beyond these rules, regulations, and discipline, but their number is very few here in the courts. To reach the freedom without discipline, reach that freedom without discipline and development is given to few. It is there. Don't think that their number is not there. They are not there. Only you have to impose freedom, you impose your discipline, your regulation, your rule on everybody. Not like this. Some people are given freedom. They are, they are beyond this discipline and regulations, rules and regulation. But their number is very few, very few. And they have gone to that point. They have reached that point during the course to reach the freedom without discipline. That freedom already we have discussed. Freedom without discipline. Nothing will be imposed like discipline upon them. And development. Discipline and development. If you want to reach the freedom without discipline and development, is given to a few, very few, or rare number. Again, Sri Aurobindo, it is a nice, almost one very appreciable message from Sri Aurobindo. Without character, without some kind of high and strong discipline, there is no enduring power in life. Sometimes you can find, you can see, but enduring, so far this long endurance is concerned. So some character, some kind of high and strong disciplines are required. Thanks. It's for it. This much is for this class. Next class we'll go for the another type of discussion. Vande Mataram. Thanks.